Hello and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel every day in October. It chooses the horror movie and they discuss it. Today we're talking about the 2014 film It Follows, which was directed by David Robert Mitchell. I am your co-host Alec.
I'm Eric.
And this is another one that we had recorded last Halloween, or last October, and we wanted to do it justice because we did not have mics that were up to our standards now. So this is a re-recording of It Follows. And as far as I'm concerned, it's still following.
It's still following, dude. And I got to say this, the last time I saw this is when we did this last on the podcast last year, and it gets better every time. It gets better every time to me.
Yeah, dude, I haven't watched it since the last time either, and I listened to our previous podcast, and the way that you started it last time, you're just like, I love, love, love,
Oh,
love,
yeah.
love, love, love. Can't say love enough.
All right. Yeah. I mean, to me, this is one of the best, if not the best horror movies of the past decade. We're in another decade now, which is crazy. I love on steroids this movie.
Yeah.
I know I say the pride of Connecticut a lot. This movie is the pride of Michigan, in my opinion. If you're from Michigan, this movie should be your like, oh, have you seen It Follows? It's like
8 Mile and It Follows. Those
yeah,
are the two.
exactly. Boom.
You're right though about the 2010s. Like it was like Evil Dead remake, then this, then The Witch, then all of these like the Hereditary, and so it was like I feel like 2013 is when everything took a switch for horror films in that decade. It's like it really started on like an independent writer director kind of person really taking over.
Yeah, and I think we're in the new realm of, after the new Halloween that just came out in 2018, not just, but a few years ago came out.
Yeah.
We're in the realm of like, hey, we're going to do these sequels that are going to be epic. Like I know The Exorcist. I don't know if you've seen the traction gaining there and the buzz around that, but The Exorcist is doing a direct sequel to the original with most of the original cast, but my ears are perked up.
Yeah.
But this movie, can we start with the music? Because we always do the music last. We always are like, hey, like, we forgot about the music. Let's talk about the music for like 5 seconds and then spin the wheel.
Let's do it.
The music.
Yeah.
If they did anything else for the music, it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, I mean, the music is very John Carpenter-esque, but it's fantastic. It's got an 80s synthesizer feel to it, especially that scene where they're walking to the pool where it's like, like that's great. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Dude, the music is, you don't think the movie would be as good if the music wasn't in it? Or what?
I mean, the music is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. The beat, like, when it is following, but I love the synth. I love the relaxing scenes with Jay like meditating in the pool. And I said this at the end of when we recorded this the first time. This has been on my I have a workout playlist. I have like the It Follows, one of the tracks. I don't know which one it's called, but on my playlist that I work out with, it's like the same 20 songs over and over again. But you want to run fast, play that song, you'll feel like something's chasing you, and it makes you run.
Yeah, there's this song, and then there's a song from 28 Days Later, like that score, where I always think that's a good running song too, because it's like the zombies are chasing you, and that's fine. I love that. But you're right, 100%. That is a great song to run to.
Yeah, no, it's just like that's just my like fun. Like if anyone looked at my workout playlist, like what the hell? Why is this on there? Like no, but also we're big 80s fans. Like you are probably the biggest 80s fan I know, and who wasn't born in the 80s?
I was a fetus in 89.
If you're pro-choice, we were fetuses. We were alive in the 80s. So if you're pro-choice, we were alive in the 80s. Yeah, that's what we tell ourselves. But yeah.
That's another thing that like it's very ambiguous when this movie takes place. It feels like the 80s, a lot. They dress like they're kind of in the 80s. There's no real music in this movie aside from the score. So there's nothing discernible about what decade it's in. Most of the cars look like they're either from the 80s or the 90s. I don't really notice any modern things. And the only thing that is remotely modern is that Yara's seashell book reader cell phone thing. That's the only thing. So
yeah, dude, seriously. Like, even if you go in the hospital looks outdated. There's no like modern equipment. So that little clam thing that she has is the only technology. Really, it's very ambiguous. It's like its own universe of technology.
Yeah, I like that. I've never really seen a movie like that where I really can't nail the decade down. Because without that seashell thing, like it would 100%, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's the 80s or the very early 90s. But
yeah, it has like that. It has like a hybrid vibe to it, where it's just like all different decades in one.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Their clothing too, and just the car that, is in the poster is very reminiscent of like an 80s, 70s kind of muscle car.
yeah.
But I guess like overall, we've talked about this movie before. We've seen this movie so many times, but like, have you now seeing it again? And last time we talked about it, have you thought of a way that you would escape the monster?
I mean, I'd get my frequent flyer miles going big time. I would just straight up fly to Australia for a week, come back here, just do it up. Ways out of it. I mean, swingers party. Just like look online for some like code names and do a swingers party and just like it's like you don't even know who it's after. There was 30 people here, so it's gonna have to go down the line of 30 people to get to me. So it has.
Well, you would lie, right? You wouldn't tell the people obviously what's going on.
I mean, that's what's effed up about the whole
Yeah.
idea. It's just like you're gonna pass this. Well, that's what it is, dude. It's a big STD. You know you have an STD. It's a big STD movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's the subtext of it, but obviously, like, it's so much more than an STD. Like, it murders you.
But it follows. But like if you have this disease, aka the zombie following you,
Mhm.
and you have sex with them, it's like you had chlamydia, you had herpes. Like why did you have sex with this person and not tell them?
Right. Yeah, so
So
you would kinda have to lie.
except for the first guy, what's his name at the beginning? Great, what
Hugh,
Hugh, yeah. So he has sex with Jay, but then he tells her it's like so. You know,
after
I forgot to
after
mention. I know we were in the heat of the moment, but
oh my god.
you might want to get checked out. Like,
Well, yeah, that what he did is the scummiest way to do it. That's basically like, "Hey, so I knew that I had herpes, but after the fact, it's like, hey, but there's treatment." Like, that's
yeah, it's
basically
like, hey, we can figure it out. Like, and also we're together now, and who cares what I have? You don't know what I have. I don't know what you have. So there we go. Like,
Well, all right. So I thought of my own idea of what I would do, but then I watched there's this video called Film Theory. It's a YouTube channel. If you ever want to watch, like this guy did hardcore research in math and stuff to figure out how you could actually survive this. And really quick, his idea is basically you would like mark a chalk on the ground or whatever, and you would have the thing chase you, so you could time how long it took to get there, so the distance or whatever. Then you would have to strategically plan your route basically every day because you'd have to have a job still. So you go to work, you would know exactly how far it would be basically at all times because you'd be
hmm
able to measure the distance it was going and at the rate of speed it was going. So it's a horrible life and you can never have sex again. You would have to like live in a house and work at a job that's the perfect distance where this thing could never catch you. It sucks.
so you would have to know your distance from it, and then it's like, okay, I can sleep for 3 hours and 42 minutes exactly, and that gives me a 10-minute window to get out again.
Yeah, you would always
Like
have
it's just like, oh
a
god, it's
buffer
so
time.
shitty.
It is he figured it out though. It is possible to survive it. But my idea would be have a sex with somebody who's about to go to move to like New Zealand or something.
Oh, that buys you like, I mean, a month, right? Like,
At
how long would it take
least.
it to get there?
Well, because that was the other thing. We never really figured out if this thing has the ability to get into cars or boats or airplanes. So we know it can swim because we see it
hmm
swim in
hmm
the pool. So I think because we've never seen it do anything besides walk and swim, I think it has to swim. I think.
Or imagine just getting on an airplane and feeling this like sigh of relief as it's like the tarmac. The what's that thing when it goes back and like the thing starts backing up, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you put your headphones in and you're like, oh, dude, it's gonna be like a month and it's not gonna get me. And then you're about to take off, like the plane's taking off, and all of a sudden this guy's like walking to the bathroom, and you're just like, oh no, and this thing just like starts walking at you. You're like, and now you're in the air. So now there's nowhere to go except back and forth down the aisles, and everyone hates you. You're bumping into everybody. You're like, I'm sorry, I have to go. Don't, whatever you do, do not have the sandwich that they offer. Like,
Oh my God, you're just lying.
like, don't have the peanuts. Whatever you do, I am not doing well. Don't go in there. Don't go in this one either. I'm going back and forth to just like maintain like air quality. Like that's why I have to go back and forth. Don't mind me. I'm just making sure. I have a blood pressure issue. That's why I have to keep moving. I'm sorry. You just come up with ideas. Like,
Eventually, they'd be like, "Sir, you have to take your seat." But
it's like,
the best opening to the second one would be that or sort of thing. It's like a guy that's like,
yeah.
he's like, "Oh, nice." Like he's like, "All right, this girl's about to go to the other side of the world, so now like I'm gonna sleep with her, not tell her." And then
Oh
she
yeah.
gets on the airplane, and then all of a sudden it's on the airplane, and she's
It
like,
like the second they close the door, you know what
uh
I mean? You see it just move. And she's all the way in the back of the plane. You know what I mean?
and they don't know they're infected yet. So like they don't even know what it is. Like imagine the person that had sex with this person before they got on the plane doesn't tell them. They get on the plane and all of a sudden they see this like old lady with her tit hanging out and she's pissing all over herself and then she's walking. You're like, what is that thing? I think that would be a really good way to start the second one if they ever do that.
Yeah, and then, like, she straight up, like, opens the door and it gets sucked out. We don't know where it lands, but she gets, like, put in a jail cell because she's, like, broken, like, all these flight regulations and laws. She gets put in a jail cell, and she knows it's coming still, you know,
Oh,
and the worst place to be. It's kinda like when Jay's in the hospital.
yeah.
You know, like, terrible place to be, especially if you're, like, tied down because 'cause you're freaking out or you gotta get the hell out of there. I think a prison is the worst place to be when it's around. It's like you're stuck in a prison cell and imagine, like, knowing it is gonna come, and
Yeah.
it's just like, I have very limited time to get out.
Could it get you though? If you're in the prison cell though, because it can't, like, walk through
Mhm.
walls, it can't do it still has to physically be able to get in there, so, like, it would have to wait until the guard was like, "Alright, I'm coming to let you out." You're like, "Don't open that door for the love of God, don't open the door."
I mean, we've seen it when it wants to get to you.
Yeah.
And there's some obstacles in the way, like, we saw, like, it knocking on the door, doom, doom, at that kid, and he's just like, "Mom, what the fuck?" Like, it doesn't really break the door down,
No.
probably because it knows, like, he's gonna answer the door and it's gonna be an easy win, but when it's in the pool and you see it throwing shit, it's like, this thing has and also how it mangled that first girl, it has some super duper strength.
Oh, yeah, and it's
So, I
pissed
think
off.
it can bend them bars of a prison cell and get in there.
Ugh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope not, but, like,
Maybe it does the maybe it does, like, the you know the scene in Shanghai Noon when he, like, takes the clothes and then you take a stick and you, like you know what I mean? You ever see that one? That trick? That's how you get out of bars.
from Shanghai Noon with
You remember that one? No, you take, like a cloth, you piss on it, get it wet so it's nice and tight, the fibers tighten up with the wetness, and then you get some kinda stick, if you can find one, if you can somehow get a piece, and you kind of, like, create, like, a lever system with it, and you tie the sheet around the bars and slowly tighten the shirt to just close the bars in, and then if you're skinny enough, you can squeeze through.
I don't remember that, that sounds crazy, though. Like,
Yeah.
that movie came out in, like, the 1800s or, like,
Sorry, I just I remember that in case I go to prison. I don't know.
I mean, that's a good idea, I guess. But, yeah, I don't know, I think that there is a way to escape it. Your entire life is ruined, basically, if you do get possessed by this thing, but, it sucks. But the
Yeah.
movie, like, I love how you never see the mom, so we don't like, there's this very, like, insulated feeling of just, like, this group of friends who are all kind of, like I don't know if they're, like, sad or, like, sarcastic, but they're in, like, a poor town. It seems like Jade didn't go to or she just is going to community college, she never left the town.
Yeah.
Did the dad die or did he leave? Like,
The
there's a lot
dad
of
the I think the dad's dead.
Yeah, you're probably
I have a
right.
thought there for a second, but this movie gives, like and this is a weird thing to say, but, like, Napoleon Dynamite vibes.
I actually get
Do you know
that.
what I mean by
Yeah.
that? Like, very bored, like, "I'm gonna eat these Cheetos from a gas station, but they're off-brand Cheetos," and
It's like bored, sarcastic hipster.
well, she's reading a book, and they're like, "Hey, like, what book are you reading? Do you like it?" And she's like, "I don't know yet." Just so bored. They're so bored, it felt like.
Yeah, and they're always doing something. They're watching, like, old movies or they're playing
Mm.
cards and drinking and, all the dates are just yeah, they're going to the movies and stuff like that. That's pretty much all it is.
Yeah,
I
what movie was that? It was,
Charade.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They were going to see the movie
You
Charade.
told me something cool once about the theater they go to in that town, which
Yeah.
is was Evil Dead, right?
So, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are from Michigan, and they premiered Evil Dead at the theater where Jay and Hugh go on their date in the beginning. So
That's really cool. That's really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
That adds bonus points to how awesome this movie is, in my opinion, so
I know, it just kinda ropes it all together.
it's a little bonus point, that's all.
Yeah. Do you have a scariest part of the movie?
Scariest part I mean, the tall guy who walks through the bedroom, that to me was the first time I saw it was the most jumped I was when, like, the mom answers the door like, "Everything okay?" And then all of a sudden or no, her friend answers the door,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden that guy walks in. Dude, that made this movie feel so real and so nightmarish and dream sequency to me. I was so scared when that happened.
Yeah. It's like everything is it blurs the line between reality and fake because the window gets smashed. We assume that's this thing, but it could be how there's that little kid kind of following her around for the first, like, half of the movie?
Yeah, that could have been.
It could have
Could have
been
been.
him, but we don't know. They never explain that. So it's either the monster broke the window
Mhm.
or the kid broke the window. But then there is something in the house. So it's kind of like it's fucking with the friends too a little bit because they're like, listen, something is going on, but we're not seeing what she's seeing, but something is actually happening here. But yeah, that man coming in was freaking terrifying. The girl when she's peeing all over herself, all of their faces are just terrifying. All of those people. I think that's the scariest part to me is just the way that they're dead eyes, dude.
So I have something to bring up there, and we've made the point where in the pool, it turns into her dad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that brings me to the idea that it only takes the shape of things it kills.
No, it takes the place of Yara.
Right, right. Okay, that was
Be-
just a thought I had because I was like, "What happened to her dad?" And I was like, "Did it kill her dad?" And I don't know. That was just an idea,
I could see
but
why you think that though, because you see when they go to the boathouse after it becomes a little boy that like screams, who is the little boy that's chasing her the whole time, who's not dead.
yeah.
But it also takes the version of the girl who got her leg snapped in the beginning.
Right, right. That's why I'm like, maybe it's a mix. I don't know. I don't know. But
Yeah,
how does he know what her dad looks like? Because was he in her bedroom at one point? But like,
yeah.
how would you catch that?
Well, we don't know much about this thing. We don't know if it's a demon, if it's a curse, if it's an alien. We don't know what the
Yeah,
rules are.
yeah,
One thing I learned this time, which I'd never noticed before, is I didn't realize that once you have been possessed by this thing, even if you passed it on, you can still see the thing. I never thought about that.
yeah.
So no matter what, forever, if you're still alive, you're still gonna be able to see this thing. So I was like, I never really thought about that.
So it makes you think like in a strategic way. How could you go about this?
You could never
I mean,
relax.
if you're like Genghis Khan, you probably see this thing walking around all day. Like, oh, don't worry, there's like 4,000 women I've slept with, and or like Gene Simmons. Like Gene Simmons is fine. He's got like another 30 years until it catches up to him.
No, but the thing is, like, even if you've had sex with this thing and you pass it on, no matter what, even if it's gone on to like 50 people, you're still gonna be on the edge of your seat everywhere you go. If you see somebody just kind of weird walking, you're gonna be like, oh fuck, is this thing coming back now? God damn it. Like no matter what for the rest of your life.
My thing is when did you get the balls enough to realize this thing's not after you anymore, and you can get close enough to it, like Hugh does,
Yeah, Hugh has got some big balls that
to
he
do that? Yeah.
yeah, like, he seems very, like, well-versed in this, like, he's been kinda playing this game for a while. We don't know that much about him, but I wanna know, like, why does he chloroform her? Because he doesn't I don't think he has to do that.
I think he's had too many failed attempts where people weren't listening to him enough. So he had to like literally do the dirty and
Yeah.
just instill it in them. He takes them to that perfect warehouse, which is the best scenario place to take them to. I think he's been around a while. He
Yeah.
dies, right? He
No.
would have no, we don't know.
No, he doesn't die because he passes it on to Jay, and then Jay passes it on to Greg, and then Greg dies, so it comes back to Jay, and then Jay, I
So it's
guess
Jay and then him. It's Jay and him. Well, it's Paul, Jay, and him.
well, and the guys from the boat.
Oh my god. Well, at the end of the movie, we see something in the very far distance, and
Yeah.
that means it is coming after Paul.
I think you're right because she goes like so basically it starts off she has sex with Hugh, that's how she gets it. Then the next person she has sex with is Greg, which is weird though because it doesn't come for Greg for over 3 days. That's what makes this weird because it's like what are the rules here because Greg's like, "Guys, she's I don't think this is real sort of thing. It's been 3 days." And then all of a sudden that night he dies and then it starts coming for Jay immediately and she has to get in the car and drive away.
What? Yeah. What? I mean, they were kind of on the move. They went from the hospital. We don't know how far the hospital was.
It's not 3 days walk though.
I mean,
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
there is a potential that it was I mean, they're in the. It feels like the middle of nowhere. Maybe she needed a certain type of care.
Yeah.
So it's possible it's a 3-day walk, and it walks slow.
That's the only thing working for you is that this thing is slow. That's really the only thing you
Yeah.
got going for
Yeah.
you because it can shapeshift. It never sleeps.
Yeah. I'd forced Gump across the country. This thing would never catch me. Like, I'd be the fastest. Dude, I could run away so fast from
You
this thing.
have to stop though eventually. It doesn't. That's the problem. It doesn't have to stop.
That's the thing. That's what the first girl in the movie who probably slept with Hugh, because that's where we take off, right?
She might have been the last girl that Hugh slept with, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get to know anything else about that girl except for the opening shot, but yeah. The opening shot it's all one take of that girl running from her house in high heels, which again, I find
Hmm.
strange because she's in pajamas and she's in high heels.
I think she was turning tricks. That's why. That night, too. And probably she brought someone back to the house and snuck him in. I
Regardless,
don't know.
take the high heels off. You're running from a demon monster that you know what it is. Take the high heel. Run barefoot. Do anything.
That's what I was saying. Like Forrest Gump, like you run away from this thing, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I'm pretty tired, and that's what she does, dude. She just straight up like,
She gives up.
I'm just gonna call my mom and say like I love him, and just probably pop some pills. That's probably what she did. And then we've also talked about this where it does not like it when you're a hard kill. Like if you're easy, like what the hell's the name? What
Greg.
the mom? Greg, yeah, like easy, like the quickest death. Like I didn't even have to walk that far. Like I didn't have to try too hard. You opened the door and you were ready. Like you didn't believe in me. There's people that know and make it real hard for it to kill.
Yeah.
And I think that those are the deaths that like it was like Hugh is in trouble once Jay's gone.
Yeah.
Hugh is going to, oh man,
Well, I
it
think
is gonna be like, you son of a bitch. Like
Jay and Hugh, dude, both of
Jay's in
them.
trouble too, but like we don't know how long Hugh's been in the game for. That's the thing
Yeah.
I want to know too. I mean, that could be the sequel there, just Hugh. If we go back to that,
The Hugh
then
story.
yeah, like imagine the movie kicks off and it's like Jay's funeral, right?
Mhm.
And Hugh's there, and Hugh just like makes an appearance at the wake, and then it shows up at the wake or something. Like that could be
Ah,
it, you know?
that's a
And
good
then
one,
and
yeah.
then he just goes. Well, also another thing about the sequel, what would it be called?
Yeah, I mean, I think It Still Follows is probably the most
Hmm.
logical thing. I think you have a better idea, though.
They follow.
I know. I love that. I think that I like that, but it's almost too hard. It's too difficult for the characters. The one is scary and horrible enough, so imagine there being, like, 4. Like, it's just like, "Well, my life's over." Like, there's just kill me.
Well, imagine there's like a total of they find out there's like 3 of these its, right?
Mhm.
And they're all connected and they all keep following the sex people or whatever. But then it comes down to the one person that's left, and all 3 are following the same person. Whereas like one person's getting followed by one of them, another person's
Oh,
get, and so they really work together to run away from all 3 of them. But then
okay.
2 of them die, and it's 1 against 3.
So there's multiple, like, curses happening at once?
But like they find out like they're the last followed. Like what happens when it's like, ah, shit.
I know,
So
once
this
it
person like Paul like didn't have anyone else. It's like, oh, you didn't have anyone else. It's like, shit. All right, what is it? Does it just
what do you
you over
think
there?
what do you think it is, though? I mean, if you had to
I
guess,
don't
what
want
do
to.
you
I
think?
don't want the answer, dude. I don't know. You said demon. It could be an alien. It could be anything. It
I
could
have
be some ancient. Like I don't. I don't know, and I don't want to know.
I have a
I
guess.
like. I just like the ambiguous. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's just my attitude about it. I don't know.
Alright, I have a guess because the only thing I could
Ooh,
the only thing I could, like, really think of is it's a Puritan curse from, like, the early 1600s in America, where people were like, "We don't like, if you have sex before wedlock, like,
yeah,
this thing will
yep.
come for you. If you cheat," because the only time a married person would get this is if they're cheating on their spouse, so if you're committing adultery, if you're having sex before wedlock, like, so some not ancient, but some puritanical, demon cult curse or
Like a
whatever.
shaman kind of
Yeah.
pagan. I don't know. It could be ancient. The ancient is probably the best. I don't want an alien. I
Yeah,
don't want a demon. Too easy.
but like a curse, because it is a curse kind of, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, herpes, chlamydia, that's just like I don't even know how this would've got started, it's just like so many people were having sex and it was mixing with so much, like, bacteria and DNA that just created this spreadable shit.
Well, I mean, that's what this idea is, but it goes from person to person, and it just follows that line where it's just like, what do you do if you're at a swingers party? Like that's what Jay kind of does. She sleeps with 3 dudes on the boat, right? You imagine that's just one big boat orgy, right? Like that's what they set up.
It doesn't matter though because, like, the first person she has sex with, that's where it ends. Because like, I think it was
Yeah,
3 guys on
yeah.
the boat, so it's not like she has sex with one of the dudes and the guy's like, "Hey, Brent, come on over here, let me fuck you now." Like, that's so it ends with the first dude she sleeps with, you
Mm.
know? It was good because it was random, I guess, but, like, you know? Also, I
Yeah,
wanted to ask
that
you
seems so brutal, dude. That seems so brutal to watch. It's like, oh, did she really? Did she really? Like,
I feel really bad for her because she's like, "Alright, I have a broken arm from this thing, I'm swimming to now have sex with strangers."
who are like old and like, like I don't, not old, but I don't know, like,
Yeah.
eh,
Well, I wanna ask you, do you think it's possible to kill this thing?
yes.
You
By
s
what they did in the pool, I think that's enough. Like, it's kind of like the predator. Like, if it bleeds, it dies. They heard it. They heard it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So, like, from now on,
How do you kill it? How do you kill it? I don't know.
well, I think it seems like throughout the movie, they shot it a few times, and it usually goes down for a second, then gets back up until the final one where they throw the blanket, shoot the thing in the head, and then it falls into the pool and drowns, and they shoot it again in the head in the pool. So let's say it doesn't die because at the end, it does seem like it's following them far, far in the distance. But from this point forward, they realize that, okay, a gun puts it down for a while at least. We're just gonna
Mhm.
have to bring a shotgun with us everywhere we go and just, like, blow the shit out of it, and then it'll recover and come back, but it doesn't seem like it ends.
I have the answer.
Alright, let's do it.
So when you do shoot it down and knock it out, you have about what, 10 seconds? You have to force yourself upon it at that point.
You have
You have
sex with it?
sex with it, and then it is just like it's like a paradox.
Whoa, that's a
Did
good
I just
idea.
blow everyone? Like it's a terror. It's like you raped it. Like I like it's like it's the only way,
Well,
dude. It's the only way. I don't know. I just blew my mind in a terrible way. Oh god, I'm sick in the head.
I
But did I answer
mean,
your question? I think I
that's a
did.
great idea, so it's like, think about it, like, you shoot it in the head with a shotgun.
And you have like a minute to just like, all right, it.
Oh my god.
And it wakes up, and it wakes up. It's like, oh no.
But but in this instance, it was like, that's Jay's dad. Like, oh.
Ooh, in that case, yeah, that's a little
Oh
naughty.
my
Yeah.
god. Oh, well, that's actually a really good idea. I hope that's not that's not
That's my brain. Don't smoke crack, kids. Just don't smoke crack. No, I'm kidding.
that's a really good idea, though.
I mean, that's what I would get down to and just be like, "Ah, damn it." Like,
That's really good.
but also, like, I'd wait for, like, okay, like, the old lady pissing. It's like, I can't do that one. I can't do that one.
You would wait until it's like it's like, "Oh, it's alive."
Something relatively attractive. I don't know.
Oh,
I
make
don't know. It's like, all right, beggars can't be choosers. Like,
Well, last thing I just want to mention before we wrap up is the poster, dude. I absolutely love the poster. There's two. There's the one that has the car that, her and Hugh have sex in the beginning. It's like a yellow car. It's cool. I like that one. But the one I really like
the
is,
vintage 80s.
yeah, it's her. It's so
Yes.
clever because it's her looking in the rear view mirror, like,
Hmm.
you always got to look behind you, sort of thing. You never know if it's following. I love the tagline is like, it doesn't eat, it doesn't sleep, it follows. And I'm like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah,
And
and it
it
has
just,
that, like, vintage vibe to it.
yeah, the artwork is very like 70s, 80s kind of.
I think even older than that, but seriously, it's perfect. Like the poster. Like, that's what the thing is. Like the poster, I can't even put a timeline on it. Like
Yeah. No, it's a fantastic horror movie. If you have not seen this, you have to watch this movie. And we've completely ruined it if you've made it this far and you haven't seen it, but go
yeah,
watch this movie because it's one of the best of the past 10 years, if not the past like 30 years. It's one of the best horror movies ever.
yeah.
Wow. You got any last minute thoughts?
Have safe sex out there. Be good. That's it.
Maybe these people are having safe sex.
Especially in Michigan, and especially in Michigan.
Hey,
No.
I love that Red Hot Chili Pepper song. That's a great Red Hot Chili Pepper.
Oh, love it, dude. I love it. Love, 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 love. It follows. Probably my top 5 we've done on this podcast, I'd
Wow.
say. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
We've done
Yep.
over 100 now, so she.
Yep. That's definitely top 5 for me. Yep.
All right, well, let's keep the wheels spinning.
Right, all right. Spinning. Well. We have Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Perfect. Yeah, this is a goofy one, but I'm glad we got a Halloween movie before Halloween Kills, so we can at least talk about it. I hope we get the other Halloween 2018 before then too, but we'll see what happens.
Yes. Yeah. Me too. Can't wait to do this one. Really.
Well, perfect. Well, you get to do it tonight, so
We could do it in 5 minutes.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening into our episode of It Follows, and we'll see you all tomorrow with Halloween 4: The Return of Michael
The
Myers.
Return, yes.